golden and bruised, and still beautiful.
You're listening to Golden and Bruised, a space for real, raw stories about love, heartbreak, healing, and everything in between. Here, we don't sugarcoat the pain or the process. We tell it exactly as it happened. Every story shared here is based on true experiences. Names may be changed, but the emotions are not. This is for anyone who's ever loved deeply, lost painfully, and still found the strength to heal. If you've ever felt golden and bruised, this is your safe place. Feel free to leave a comment if you connect with what you're hearing. Some stories begin with good intentions and still spiral into something complicated, messy, and unforgettable. This one is about Tony and the two women who collided into his quiet life, leaving behind a trail of confusion, warmth, guilt, and a deep ache for something real. Tony was the kind of guy who stayed in his corner, literally and emotionally. He clocked in, worked in silence, went home, no drama, no entanglements. But one day, Tina walked up to him. She didn't wait to be invited. She told him she was struggling in her relationship, that her boyfriend didn't see her anymore, didn't ask how she was, didn't hold space for her pain. Tony listened. They had a long conversation, one of those rare ones that feels like it opens a hidden door in your chest, and then they hugged. It was just a hug, but something in him shifted. He didn't want to go home. He wanted to see her again. When the day ended, he looked for her, but she found him first. She offered him a ride home. And during that ride, they held hands, quietly, as if afraid to name what was blooming between them. Before she left, he asked if they could grab a drink sometime. She smiled, said yes. They exchanged numbers. That night, he stayed up thinking about her. Not in a lustful way, but in that deep, aching way that lonely people think about a little light. But then, days passed, no texts, no calls, nothing. Tina disappeared. Then came Sandra, same office, different vibe. Sandra had this energy, warm, confident, maybe even familiar. She walked up to him, smiled, and said, "You must be Tony." Something about the way she said his name made him feel seen. And when they found out they lived close by, she suggested they share a ride home. They talked all through the drive, held hands. She leaned her head on his shoulder. It was comfortable, too comfortable. And just like before, numbers were exchanged. That night Tina called. She had heard something about Sandra, and she wanted to know, "Do you like her?" Tony brushed it off, but deep down he was starting to feel it, that heaviness that comes from too many unspoken things. The weeks passed. Tony returned to the same office. This time, both Tina and Sandra were present. Tension clung to the air. Sandra was flirtatious, Tina cool and watchful. After work, Tina offered both of them a ride. When Sandra and Tony got off together, he gave her his jacket. She offered him a drink. On the bus home, they kissed. It was quick, surprising, and confusing. He wasn't even sure if it was real, or just something they did, because no one was watching. And then came the prank. A friend called his workplace pretending to be his wife. A joke. A stupid joke. But the word spread. Suddenly, people were whispering. Sandra stopped picking up his calls. Tina pulled him aside at work and asked directly, "Are you married?" He said no. She leaned in and kissed him. That evening, she texted, "Can I spend the night at yours?" He said yes. They didn't talk much that night, just silence and wine and bodies trying to find comfort. 2 days later, Sandra called. She had heard the rumors, wanted to know the truth. He explained. She believed him. They met for a walk in the park. They laughed, drank, shared secrets. Then they went back to his apartment. Everything felt calm until her phone rang the next morning. Tony listened, unintentionally. It was her husband. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. "I should have told you," she said. He felt sick, not because she lied, but because he'd started to care about both of them. He tried to pull back, tried to create space. But both women kept orbiting. Sandra wouldn't stop texting. And Tina, she came over again, brought alcohol, laughed like nothing happened. This time he asked, "Are you married?" She said no. They got intimate. And now? Sandra's still messaging him. Tina has told everyone they're in a relationship. Tony, meanwhile, wants out. He doesn't want either of them. Not like this. Not anymore. He asked me what to do, and I told him, be honest, talk to them, separately or together. Say sorry, not for the feelings, but for the confusion, for not choosing clarity sooner. And then, cut ties, let go, heal. Because real love can't grow in confusion, and peace won't come where honesty is missing. So Tony's story isn't just about dating, it's about loneliness, and the choices we make when we're tired of being invisible. If you've ever found yourself tangled in a situation that felt warm, but not right, you're not alone. But you do deserve more. This was Golden and Bruised, and sometimes heartbreak doesn't look like tears. It looks like silence, like staying too long, like two hearts, and one big, messy, beautiful lesson. If this story moved you, even just a little, please don't just scroll away. Take a second to like this post, leave a comment, and subscribe. That simple action is what keeps this podcast alive. It tells me this matters to you too. I may never know your name, but your support means the world. And if this episode reminded you of something or someone, say it out loud in the comments. Let's not heal in silence. Thank you for listening to Golden and Bruised. Until next time, keep healing.